got back from the battalion run. It wasn't bad at all. It was just like a 2-mile warm-up run. We're about to start our classes today. Got some MREs for breakfast, but you know we ain't doing that. So we about to go figure out what we're about to do for breakfast. I'm gonna shower real quick, get ready. So we have about 30 minutes till our first class, and I am hungry. I need some breakfast. I don't have much time, but I need time. I want to go to the shop at, grab some Arby's or something. I don't even know where the first class is. And if it's too far to where I'm going to go grab my food and then walk 2 miles, yeah, I'm not going to make it. So figure this out. We'll see what happens. Made my sleeve short. It is hot, and these are winter OCPs. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make sure this is as cool as possible because, yeah, I'm not trying to be sweating all day at least, but I will. We'll see what happens. My military buddies know what I'm talking about. And probably my fitness studs too. But if you ever see somebody walking in uniform and they look like this, or you know what I mean, got their chest out, almost looks like there's like air gaps between their hips, and they're just beefing it. It's probably the best way to walk anywhere, to be honest. So any chance you get, make sure you do that. Oh shit. Holy Christ. It's hot. That's right, it is hot.
Damn, I can feel it. Like, it's hitting me right now.
Bro, but we're both black too.
Yeah, it's hitting me. Like,
Makes it worse. It's literally
it's
a
like
wave.
It's
like you can feel the wind of heat. Doesn't feel good.
Like you by the fire and then
It doesn't feel
throw
good.
you in the fire right now. That's hell, right?
Literally. But at the same time, this is what I was thinking earlier. Because if hell is hot, would that make heaven cold? Or if hell was hot, are there also sections of hell that are so cold that you just freeze? And if that's the case, what temperature would heaven be at? Would it just be at a perfect 72, 73? You know?
That's messed up.
Just my thoughts. Just my thoughts. I feel like there's so much you guys need to catch up on. The last time I actually did a real vlog is so long ago. I've recorded so many since then that I just never edited them. Man, a lot of stuff happened, man. So I think the last one I did was probably the beginning of my first relationship, really. So yeah, I think I hope I removed that video, but yeah, so I'm trying to, I'm working on my social presence, working on my image, how I see myself as well, like not just how other people see me, but this persona that I have is who I am. It's genuinely me. So what I want to do, what I'm wanting to use this platform for, is to become the person I see myself as, and also in a way influence others to do the same. Is be unconditionally yourself, be genuine, work towards the things that you want in life, but also the things you need in life. Allowing people to grow with me, allowing people to feed off my success, and learn something, just as I do with others. I think it's super important to recognize other people's perspective, even if you don't agree with it. It's still important to understand it, dissect it, so you can choose really whether or not you would like to follow it, right? I think that was a big thing for me. A huge thing that changed in my life was I found Islam. I converted to Islam in 2021, July 16th, on Friday during Jummah. And it was a very, I want to say a long process, but it wasn't too long. Like, technically my conversion story, or we call it reversion stories because we believe everyone is born Muslim, essentially started when I was probably about 10 or 12, through that age. Like, I was introduced to Muslims when I was about 10 or 12. Didn't know anything they believed, but they were just amazing people. Most of the time, I was just, I was just breaking into it. Like, I didn't really ask many questions about their religion. I noticed a lot of things, like how they would separate the men and women with every meeting. Since I was so young, I was allowed to be around women, and then I turned a certain age, and then I wasn't, randomly. To me, it was random. And then, I think I really wasn't around Muslims at all when I left Indiana, where I was. And then we moved to Utah. And so I was born Mormon. And it's funny because when I moved to Utah, the most Mormon state in the country, I left Mormonism somehow. So moved here when I was about 15, and then I think probably 2 years after I moved here, or after I moved to Utah, I did not find myself resonating with the other members of the church, which was different because most of the time, even when I went to wards in other states, like, it was very easy for me to feel like I was at home. And then when I moved to Utah, like, almost everything changed. Like, they were more openly racist here. In other states, Mormonism isn't crazy racist, but somehow Utah just brings out the racism in Mormons, like the hidden racism too, because if you study it enough, you start to see trends of teaching your flock to be racist, as far as like reading the Book of Mormon, and that's another video for another day. But yeah, I just fell out of the church, and then fucking hated it, I guess. Like, for a while, I just resented it, and then when I went to training, I had a Jesus experience where, like, we were singing a song, and like that training had just been tough that week, and that was one of the only times. Like, the first time I went to a church service, I just went to the Mormon services, and it sucked ass. So I didn't go back. And then one day, my friend, he was a Protestant, and he was like, "Hey, you should join, or you should come with me." I was like, "Can I come with you?" So we went out. Another stud of a battle buddy, bro. Like, super cool dude. I really hope to see him again in my life. Bro, we were singing the Jesus song, and tears just came out of my eyeballs, bro. I kid you not. Like, I don't know what it was, but something sparked in me that day. So since then, moving forward, like, I was very spiritual. I was very conscious. So skip ahead a few years, maybe 2021 early, maybe late 2020. Obviously COVID was going on at the time. Just a lot of stuff going on. And I found myself just watching some YouTube videos. This guy, Sheikh Uthman, was just preaching, or doing his dawah, where he was just helping people understand Islam. And he drew the comparison between justice in Christianity and justice in Islam, where justice in Christianity will say if a rapist rapes a woman but believes in Jesus, he's going to be saved. But if an innocent child dies without believing in Jesus, like an innocent teenager is raped but they're not Christian, then they're going to hell. Whereas in Islam, justice is served in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where if you are a Muslim but you are a bad person, you're going to hell, right? And if you're a good person but you aren't Muslim, when you receive that message, when you receive that when God tells you that he's God and you accept that message, then you will be accepted into Islam. The thing about accepting the message is essentially your baptism, right? When you understand that God is the Almighty and he sent his prophets here, right? When you understand that notion, you're essentially telling yourself that, okay, like, I recognize this now, right? From this point on, I'm going to carry myself in the manner of recognizing Allah's grace and his messengers. So when you pass away and you were never given the message of Islam and you receive that message, then at that point you will be able to decide, right? But also your sins will be forgiven, right? And this was the craziest thing is like, and this is what I resonated with the most is, as humans, we mess up, right? We shouldn't, but we do, you know? And the thing about that was, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you mess up, if you drop on your face and you apologize, not just to yourself, not just to the person you hurt, but to God as well, right? That is all that God is asking for, right? That's all he wants to see, is that you recognize him, you recognize his grace, you recognize his magnificence, right? Just like Jesus did in the garden, right? Just like Adam did when he ate the fruit, right? Or when, I guess both of them ate the fruit, whatever the hell, Eve. They smacked their face on the ground and they asked for forgiveness. One of the biggest stories that I remember learning was the story of Moses in Islam. Musa, alayhi salam, was how Jibreel was so pissed off at Pharaoh that he didn't want to let the Pharaoh ask God for forgiveness, so he shoved dirt down his throat because he knew if the Pharaoh asked for forgiveness, God would have forgave him, right? And that's the craziest thing and that to me speaks volumes, because coming from someone who messes up constantly, like, that is the biggest attribute, you know, of a religion that solely understands that God is the most perfect being. We cannot compare ourselves to God, and trying to become God is blasphemous. So the only thing we can do is recognize his grace, right? And don't attribute his grace with any other person like Jesus, right? And man, it's just been such an awakening journey, not just in Islam, but my perspective on everything else, you know, that has disseminated from my awakening, I guess, or my enlightenment. And man, it's just been crazy. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that Islam is without fault and it's for everybody, and you know that nothing can compare to Islam. I truly believe that if you are pious in your belief, whatever you believe, you're pious, you know, you're a real believer, you're not a kafir, right? You're not just somebody that knows the truth but just decides that it's wrong, right? Or that they don't want to follow it, right? Or a non-believer, like a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? You're like, as long as you're not one of those people, you know, or you're just trying to jump on the fad, personally, that is what I find beautiful. You know, I don't know what God wants because I'm not God, so I'm not going to say that. But personally, I think someone finding their truth in their journey is the most beautiful thing that you can experience in life. So, yeah, go out there, do things, become who you are, right? Not who everyone else is telling you to be, you know, not who you were born as, you know, because when you're born, right? This is something that I resonate with a lot. Is when you're born, you're given a name that someone else gave you. Yeah, your parents might have given you that name, but you yourself didn't give you that name, right? You know, you yourself didn't slap you on the booty and make you cry, right? Like, you didn't have the ability to speak for yourself when you were a kid, right? So allow yourself to speak for yourself now. So I was born as Ammon Myers. Growing up, I never really enjoyed that name. Even though I identified as Ammon, I felt like there was a piece of myself that wasn't being done justice. So I decided on a few different names growing up, and I landed on the name Abdul Hakim, Abdullah Hakim, when I converted to Islam. And so I go by Hakim because it helps me understand that not only is God the all-knowing, wise, omniscient being that we all have grown to love and respect, but the key to this life is wisdom, you know. Before I chose the name Hakim, I chose the name Osiris because in the Egyptian belief, Osiris, I believe, is the god of death, right? And he's the one that is essentially going to judge you when you die. And that reminded me that I will be judged when I die, right? And that everything I'm doing now will affect that, you know? And so when I found Islam, I recognized that Osiris was a blasphemous name, I guess, you know, because it's a god and it's obviously not a part of Islam. But I still wanted something that would help remind me that my life, the life that I live now, will be judged, you know, and not just judged by anyone, by the wisest, you know, the wisest of all time. Abdullah Hakim was the name I chose, and Hakim is the name I identify with. Abdullah Hakim is the understanding that God is the all-powerful. To me, Hakim is the meaning that wisdom is the central understanding of life, right? Is if we are here to, the only thing we can take with us to heaven is wherever we go, is our knowledge, right? So that's the thing that we need to focus on the most, whatever it is, you know, whether even if it's math, science, or taking care of people, you know, understanding how you can do those things. So yeah, it was a huge change for me, especially going throughout my life with an identity crisis. Like, finding that really solidified who I was as a person.